I was poking around an online filmmaking forum recently and came across an old thread which said, "How did El Mariachi get so big with such poor quality? If most of the films were made that cheap, with that bad of picture and even worse sound quality, and using ADR even, it would be rejected by most film festivals. However, El Mariachi went big and boosted off Robert Rodriguez's career. How is that his film was the exemption to the rules? Did the producers just have really good international connections to get it shown in theatrical releases all over the world, or what?" Interesting question. Even more interesting were some of the excuses that other filmmakers tried to offer for the success of Rodriguez and El Mariachi. He lucked out with the market. There weren't as many independent films at the time. He had a friend that knew a film agent. He'd never be able to get distribution for the film in today's market. Oh my, they sound like a bunch of jealous little size queens. Budget size, that is. Jealous that Rodriguez made a film for just $7,000 that launched him to fame and grossed over $2 million at the box office. Well, what these little size queens don't know is that that Rodriguez was able to figure out is that size only matters in the bedroom. And like all good bedroom romps, you get a much better filmmaking experience if you really know how to use what you have. And oh baby, Rodriguez knew how to use his budget. First of all, he decided that he was going to use whatever he could get no matter what. So even though God had not blessed him with the largest natural budget, he was not born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He happily sought out the use of drugs that would enhance his performance. In fact, he spent several months being injected with pharmaceuticals for medical experiments to help raise money for his film. When all was said and done, he was happy to put that $7,000 he earned to good use to get his film made. He was also looking for more of a one-night stand sort of film. He just needed to get it done, make a little bit of profit. He was hoping to sell the finished film for $20,000 and get out so he could repeat the process with a more worthy project. But for now, he really just needed an easy target. He knew that Mexican film audiences, he knew what they were looking for, and he was a fan of action movies himself. So his idea for a low-budget action film seemed like a perfect fit for that market. Rodriguez wasn't going to let his meager budget deter him from sealing the deal, so he carefully plotted a scheme that would have made any pickup artist blush with pride. He'd use his friends as actors and only rent the most basic equipment he needed to actually get the film made. His budget didn't allow for elaborate stunts, so he'd need to use careful editing and cutaway shots to imply most of the action. And because he had limited shooting time and could only afford a small amount of film stock, he'd have to, oh my God, carefully plot out his schedule and each shot in advance of the shoot. It was daring. It was risque. It was taboo. But the finished film left its viewers more than fully satisfied, despite the tiny little cash quota Rodriguez had been blessed with. And the post-coital pillow talk about this indie filmmaker that did so much with so little changed forever the face of filmmaking as we know it. The moral of our lurid tale of filmmaking and smut: methinks there may be more to filmmaking than just the size of your budget. In fact, maybe a smaller budget would force most filmmakers to make better choices. Things like who the film is for, how you might be able to make money when it's finished, how you can get it made with money, equipment, resources you have on hand, instead of using these as excuses to not make a film at all. I dare say that El Mariachi was a success because Rodriguez did these things, the important things, instead of worrying about how much money he did or didn't have. FYI, these are the kind of things that I will be teaching in my new side project. Things like how you should be making your film with the viewers in mind, how to get your film made using the resources that you already have, and how to focus on telling the story. I can't promise these things will launch you into a famous filmmaking career, but I can promise they will make you a better filmmaker.